Hello students, welcome to KANISHKA IAS Academy. When you are preparing for the UPSC prelims, you might have come across a tricky area in modern India, that is British Acts. Of course, it is one of the favorite theme of UPSC, that's why frequently they are framing questions on this area. But what we do, we generally recite all the provisions and fail to attempt the questions. But when we understand the background and context to bring these acts, it is easy for us to answer the questions in exam. Let us understand the background to bring these acts and the respective provisions of this 1773 Regulating Act. Now, the first act is 1773 Regulating Act. The name itself says regulation. Regulation of what? Here, British Parliament is attempting to regulate the English East India Company affairs. Why British Parliament determined to regulate company? Because there are certain reasons. So, what are the reasons for this act or the context? The first reason is, after 1764 Battle of Buxar, the very political context has been changed. English East India Company emerged as a sovereign power. Its sovereignty was clashed against the British sovereignty. Now, the question arises, who is superior? Of course, British Parliament is superior. Company is just a trade body. That's why British Parliament attempted to subordinate the English East India Company. And the second reason is, in the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, number of British officials engaged in the wars and they were benefited out of the gifts, and they accepted costly gifts and ignored the company's trade and engaged in private trade. As a result, they became wealthy. It could not be digested by the English gentry or elite people in Britain. So, they are complaining to the British government. That is second reason. And third reason is, after 1764 Battle of Buxar, Robert Clive introduced a dual government in Bengal. Here, what is dual government? English East India Company was given Diwani rights, tax collection rights, but without having any responsibilities. Whereas Nizamat rights, nothing but the responsibilities to maintain law and order, administration, welfare of the people was given to Bengal Nawab, who was not given any financial powers. So, this is what the dual government, and it was miserably failed in handling the 1770 Bengal famine. Because of this, British government and English East India Company were highly unpopular and accumulated disgrace. And it is one of the reasons. And the next reason is, after 1764, okay, now British or the company's aim is to conquer the India. To conquer India, they have to fight wars. For the future wars, they required the unified command. But here, there is no cooperation among the Calcutta, Bombay and Madras presidencies. Now, they have to ensure that coordination among these presidencies. And that is the reason. And the next reason is, when English East India Company came to India in 1600s, it took the help of royal forces and promised to pay 4 lakh pounds annually to British government. But it failed to pay these 4 lakh pounds annually to British government. Above all, what we thought about the English East India Company, it is wealthy and prosperous. But it was reeling under financial problems. English East India Company in 1770s, it applied for a loan of 14 lakh pounds from the British government. The moment company applied for loan, it was a brilliant opportunity for the British Parliament, and they have attempted to regulate the British government in the name of Act, and that is the 1773 Regulating Act. So, now let us see the provisions in 1773 Regulating Act. We are going to understand these provisions under two broad heads. One is, changes happened between the English East India Company and the British Parliament and their relationship. And the second head is, what happened in the British or company's administration in India. Okay. So, the first is English East India Company. We all know that it is a private limited company. So, we have the shareholders, Prior to this act, if anybody pay 500 pounds, he will become the shareholder. But with this act, that subscription amount was raised. If anybody pay 1000 pounds, then only he will become the shareholder. All the shareholders are being called as proprietors, and we can call it as a court of proprietors. Of course, these court of proprietors are hundreds in number. Every day they can't meet and supervise the day-to-day affairs of company. That's why they elect directors for 1 year, and these directors are called as court of directors. Now, these court of directors supervise day-to-day affairs of the English East India Company. So here this act says that these directors have to submit their letters and company accounts to British government. That is how British government trying to regulate the affairs of English East India Company. Okay, and the next thing is what happened in the administration of English East India Company with this act. I said that we have the 3 presidencies. Among the 3 presidencies, they made Calcutta as superior. Okay, Governor of Bengal was designated as Governor General of Bengal. Governor General of Bengal. In most of the affairs, Bombay and Madras were subordinated to Calcutta Governor. Okay, and the next change is here Governor General, he was not independent or autonomous. He could not take the decisions on his own. He was provided with a Governor General in Council, which has 5 members. Among them, the first one is Governor General of Bengal, and the remaining are council members. All the decisions were taken by the majority vote. Decisions were taken on the basis of majority vote. Okay, so I said that there was private trade and corruption going on. So this act has abolished the private trade, and officials should not accept any kind of gifts, but their salaries were low. They may incline to take all these things. So your 1773 Regulating Act identified this problem, and it raised the salaries of company officials. So the next one is, in India there are many British citizens and officers. They commit many crimes. Now under which law they are going to be tried? That's why Supreme Court was set up at Calcutta. It is going to trial the British citizens under British laws. So these are the provisions of Regulating Act. Was it foolproof from all the problems? No, it has its own defects. Now the defects in 1773 Regulating Act is going to be corrected with the Pitt's India Act 1784. What is the significance of this 1773 Regulating Act? For the first time, British government attempted to regulate English East India Company affairs, and it laid down the foundation for written constitution in India. And the third significance is right of British Parliament to make the laws for India as well as company was ascertained with this act. I hope you understand the background, provisions and significance of 1773 Regulating Act. If you like this video, subscribe KANISHKA IAS YouTube channel. Thank you so much.